Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and joining me here, of course, is Jason Cameron, fresh off not a, they don't call it Super Wildcard weekend anymore for some reason. They just call it Wildcard weekend. We've got 5 games in the books, another game starting in about an hour and a half here. And we had a UFC return. We've had a few other things, news and notes. But tell me about your weekend. And yeah, how did you enjoy the NFL wildcard game?
Well, first off, I appreciated the weekend because unfortunately I'm still fighting off this ridiculous cold. It is a lingerer. I've had a couple friends that have had this. It sucks.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody likes being sick. I especially don't like being sick for this long.
no,
But I'm hoping that this is the week that I finally kick it, get over it. I'm really hoping for that, please,
yeah,
please.
geez.
But at the same time, since I wasn't going out anywhere, I was at home watching sports, watching football. So this was my sanctuary. This was what I was looking forward to. So that was a good thing.
Nice, nice, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I hope you get better. Yeah, I was sick a bit over the holidays and it was terrible, man, and not fun to be sick at all. It sucks that it's a lingering one. Those ones really bug you because you wake up every day thinking, okay, finally I'm gonna feel good, and you don't, and I was like, oh man, it just bums you out again a little more. And so yeah, hopefully the worst is way behind you, and yeah, you'll have a good week ahead. Yeah, the weekend was great. I am kind of feeling a little bit upset with all those wildfires down in LA. We deal with them every year here in the summertime. It becomes pretty bad in the interior of BC for wildfires. We get the smoke that ends up traveling here to the lower mainland, but it's kind of crazy that they're getting it in January. I guess they haven't had rain in 8 months down there, and I don't think anybody has officially released any reason why the fire initially started, but I guess they had some kind of crazy winds that just were fanning the flames and pushing the fire farther and farther and farther and engulfing neighborhoods. They say that the toll of money is over
Astronomical.
$60 billion now.
I think it's reached 100 billion now, like or
$100
something.
billion, something like 10,000 structures, homes, businesses,
Yeah.
community centers, schools, things like that. The death toll is 24, which is tragic. Luckily, it's not worse than that because I heard it just was incredible. The firefighters were just unable to get a handle on it, and it just started sweeping through neighborhoods so quickly. Lots of tragic stories. Lots of famous people have lost their homes, but lots of just regular people, and it's going to take so long to recover from this and to rebuild. And yeah, our hearts go out to everyone affected. To hear it touch the sporting world as well as many others as well. I heard Steve Kerr say that he lost his family home. They were able to luckily evacuate his 90-year-old mother from the home and get her to a safe place. Also, JJ Redick lost his home. He's been a recent resident to LA in the Pacific Palisades area, but still you lose everything you own. You move it into your home, you've got your trophies, you've got your memorabilia, you've got family photos, you've got so many things that are near and dear to your heart, and they're all gone in just one day. It's just brutal, and you can see the emotion on their faces and the press conferences they had, and it yeah, it's hit home for me. I've got friends down there in that area, and luckily they're all safe. But yeah, it's scary, and it's something that's happening for climate change, something that we're trying to address, but when it happens, it's just so devastating for that area as well as around the world.
Yeah, man. Like it's it's heartbreaking to see that many people affected, that many people just lose everything that they've ever owned, all the memorabilia of their life is
Yeah.
all gone. But at the same time, as I'm listening to the news, it sounds to me, I'm not an expert, but I've heard some things off the news that a lot of things have been
Yeah.
incredibly mismanaged by the state. And that can't happen anymore. I don't know what the American people of that state are going to do, but they can't have that happen anymore. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think the amount of destruction that happened could have been limited if the management was proper.
Wow.
And it just wasn't. It just
Yeah.
wasn't done.
Yeah. That's really tragic, and just it puts an extra kick in the crotch to you. Like
Yeah.
how this is an area that has had wildfires over the past
Huh?
years. It's been happening for years. Luckily, nothing to this extent that I ever remember. But yeah, I have heard these reports that it was mismanaged. There was a lot of things that they failed on. And yeah, what do you do? And in this case, I guess you have to live and learn, and
Yep.
make sure that it doesn't happen ever again like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to live and learn. And I'm praying actually that the people affected by these wildfires won't actually have to have another battle on their hands with the insurance companies.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, praying that the insurance companies do their due diligence and do what they're supposed to do as insurance companies, and
Yeah.
not try to find the loopholes to try to mess with people
Yeah.
and not pay out, because that would be an even bigger travesty than what's already happening right now.
Yeah, that's always something that really bothers me. Insurance companies, take your money willingly day after day, week after week, year after year. And then when it comes to when you need it, it seems like there's so much red tape, lots of bureaucracy,
Yep.
lots of loopholes, and lots of things that they try to put in place so that people can't get their money right away. But yeah, let's hope that if the government has to step in and make
Yep.
sure it happens, or what has to take place. But let's hope that it doesn't pile on to these tragic losses that people have had.
I hope so. I hope so. And I think with now Trump about to take in office, I believe if he has to step in, he's gonna step in all right.
Yeah.
I think there's no question about it. It's like if he has to step in, he's gonna step in.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah. Um, I spent all day just reading this book today. I just decided, while I'd sit on the sidelines, I'd just read this book by Jim Murphy. It's called Inner Excellence: Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance and the Best uh, Days of Your Life. And I just had to read it over and over and over, just like AJ Brown was doing on the weekend there. So bizarre that a football player would catch one pass for 10 yards and decide that the best way to keep sharp and the best way to help the team out would be sit on the sidelines and read this book.
At first, I thought it was a tablet, right? But
Yeah.
then I'm like, no, that's not a book. And then it looks like there's words in it, so that's not a playbook. So I don't know what is he doing. It seemed to me that he was trying to read the book to calm his mind
Oh.
because he was so mad about the fact that I guess he wasn't contributing enough. And they were winning the game, by the way.
True. Yeah,
They're winning.
exactly. Yeah.
And so to me, it just screams of just how much of a diva do you want to be? Like, it's like, you're winning.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's the problem? What is the problem right now?
Yeah.
Is winning not enough? It seems to me for AJ Brown that winning's not enough for him, which is just the most ridiculous. Like, is he going to, like, if they were to win the Super Bowl, would AJ Brown, would he be whipping out that book again? And would he be like, man, I only caught 3 passes? I'm pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that he reads it practically every game. I don't know why. The cameras have never seen it. I kind of don't know if he's being completely honest, because I think that would have been something that we would have seen, especially with the controversy between him and Jalen Hurts not, supposedly being on the same page, kind of not really being best friends this year. That came out a few weeks back, and I think a little more would have happened. There are a lot of diva wide receivers over the years and things that guys have done, but this kind of stepped it up another level, and really just seemed to really bother me in a team that's very poised to win it all this year. He has to go and do that. Why doesn't he choose to go into the blue tent, or you do it in the locker room at halftime? But it just added another kind of distraction to a team that won. They didn't play amazingly well, but they did win. And even though AJ didn't contribute on the field that much, I'm sure he garnered a lot of double teams, a lot of attention, so other guys could get open. You're valuable. And when you're on the sideline, I think, aren't you trying to pump the team up, being ready for the next drive, instead of, getting into your own world and reading a book? It seemed ridiculous and childish, and I was very much not a fan of it.
If the book was the good book, like the Bible, and he was getting into his scriptures, kind of like a Ray Lewis thing, fine. I get it.
Right.
Psyching yourself up, right?
Yeah.
You're getting the Holy Spirit in you. You're getting ready for the next play. Okay, cool. I get that. I understand that. But that is not what he's doing here. That is not what he's doing. And I wish he was like that. I wish he was like what you would call a good teammate.
Yeah.
I wish he was like that.
Yeah.
But when you're a diva for a reason.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm the belle of the ball. I'm the most important person here. Actually, you are not. It's Saquon Barkley. He's the most important person. But you know what? Regardless, I guess sometimes you're just going to have to do it in spite of some people.
Yeah.
So I guess we're just going to have to win in spite of you.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah. Amazingly enough, Jim Murphy is the happiest guy on the planet today, though, because his book zoomed up to #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's the #1 bookseller in the entire US today. It's hilarious that, a very short clip like that can all of a sudden change a guy's life, and he can sell millions of copies of his book, and he's going to have to send AJ Brown a little thank you card or a little bit of money or something for changing the trajectory of his life and suddenly making him a massive bestseller.
Yeah, I think so. Like maybe he'll send him a little gift card or something saying, thanks for the free marketing. Appreciate you. And if you could keep reading my book for the rest of your playoff games, that'd be great.
Yeah. Here's my other book I released. Trying to get that one out there.
Yeah,
here's two more I put out. Let's get them all onto the New York Times bestseller list. And,
Yep. Damn right.
Pretty funny. Yeah. There was a few news and notes out of the NFL today. We're going to break down these games, but the one note that really shocked me today was hearing about Bo Nix, and it was revealed today that he played part of his rookie season with broken fractures in his back. It's called the transverse process fractures in his back, and he sustained the injury in the first half of a game November 24th against the Raiders, and he has played the rest of the season, got them into the playoffs, and they scored an opening touchdown. After that, they kind of fell off, but crazy. He said, I got twisted up a little bit, 3 fractures in my back. He said a lot of guys do play with this thing, so I'm not a superhuman, but to me, this is pretty incredible and pretty unbelievable that they would allow him to play and that he played this well, was able to get this team. We mentioned it last week. The Broncos were hampered with that Russell Wilson contract and had all that dead cap money, still made the playoffs, and the guy had his broken back. That's pretty insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. I can't, because you couldn't tell. that he was hurt.
No.
So I don't know how much like painkillers he was on, probably like a lot. But like you couldn't tell that he was hurt. Like that's probably one of the most impressive things I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Especially coming from a rookie, right? And the fact that you talked your coaches into saying, you know what, I think I'm still good.
I can do it.
They're like,
put me in, coach.
You know,
I can do it.
Yeah, like, but it's like, your back is broken. Literally, your back is literally broken. I think I'm good. Let me in there. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was very shocking news today. I was just totally stunned by that. Never heard any rumblings of it through the year. As I mentioned, it happened third week of November. That's insane. So very bizarre. The other news today was that Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys were unable to come together on a contract extension. Mike McCarthy's last day officially as the NFL quarterback or NFL coach of the Dallas Cowboys will be today. He will be a free agent tomorrow and getting back into the mix of the coaching carousel. I guess I'm not super shocked by this, but by all accounts, I heard that Jerry Jones really wanted to keep him. They were going to be able to, put this together, but I guess when you allow a guy to get to that, close to free agency, really you were kind of not sure, and I guess the money just couldn't be met. I guess also McCarthy kind of feels a little disrespected, possibly, to not be extended a lot sooner. He had a really good regular season, only 1-3 in the playoffs, and obviously not making the playoffs this year was maybe the nail in the coffin. But big news today out of Big D.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised to hear it. And then also, too, there's a number of teams out there that could use Mike McCarthy's services and are willing to pay for his services.
Right.
And obviously more than what Dallas Cowboys are willing to pay. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at that. And I think it's best for both that they leave each other and cancel this relationship, because I think both need to move on.
Yeah. Mike Vrabel hired yesterday, coach of the Patriots. I thought they should have done it a year ago. Gerard Mayo was the guy they put in place. That didn't work out. This kind of goes back to more of the Bill Belichick way of coaching, I think. When Mayo came on, he talked about changing the culture there, more of a collaborative type of coaching way of going about it instead of the dictatorship they had under Belichick for 20-something years. Vrabel is one of those guys that I think more kind of the dictator, maybe a little bit less than Belichick, but I think this probably puts the Patriots right back into the mix, and really we should see some very incredible strides forward for this organization.
Vrabel understands the Patriot way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the owners, I think that's what Robert Kraft wanted back in the organization, was that culture, was the Patriot way. And Vrabel is from that tree. He knows exactly what that is. Yeah. So now that they brought him in, that's what they get.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. I was hoping he would join the Chargers a year ago, or like not this past year when they hired Harbaugh, but the year before when they had Staley still in place. That didn't work out. Staley obviously didn't work out. Harbaugh came in, had a good year. Really bad dud on Saturday, but I think this franchise is turning around, and I think the Patriots are definitely turning around as well. So some retirement news today from the world of boxing. Tyson Fury has released a statement that he will be retiring from the world of boxing. This is only the fourth time he's doing it. So hard to take a man at his word when he's four-time retiree. I know Brett Favre did that about same amount of times. Tyson's done it before, and it was kind of a negotiating tactic to try to lure him back out of it for more money. Do you think that's the case here, or these losses to Usyk really just took his fire out of him, and this is the last time we'll see him fight?
I think the losses actually took it out of him, especially the second loss. because I think I'm in agreement with him that the second fight was closer than the first fight, but he lost more definitively by the judges' scorecards in the second fight.
Right.
And that would leave a very, very, very sour taste in my mouth. Very sour taste.
Sure.
To the point where it's just like, you know what? And then also, too, he's not getting any younger. He's made his money.
Yeah.
Especially off of that last fight as well. So it's like, hey, maybe it's time to actually hang him up, right? I don't know if he's actually going to be enticed to come back out. It's got to be a huge money fight, like huge.
Yeah.
For him to be enticed to come back, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, I'm really disappointed that if this is the case that he's done for good, I'm really disappointed that the Anthony Joshua fight just never did come to fruition, because I think that actually is a bigger fight globally than the Usyk fight, even though the Usyk fight was for the, the undisputed champion of the world. I think Joshua and him have this level of popularity worldwide, especially in the UK, here in North America, that I think that would have just been so massive. And I think, that might be the only fight that maybe lures him back out of retirement. I hope it happens. It should have happened years ago, but that's the only one that kind of leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth if this is the end.
Yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been nice to see the two of them compete and get after it. But if this is the end, he's had a storied career. He's had a very entertaining career to follow, and he's been one of the best personalities in boxing. I hope he gets into commentating, because that man definitely needs to be heard from again.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be phenomenal. Yeah, I hope somebody lures him into that. And there's lots of great fights for him to commentate on. And he's such an entertaining guy. It'd be phenomenal to have him. Also in retirement news, 26 years ago today, Michael Jordan retired for the second time. This was after his game-winning shot 7 months earlier against Brian Russell and the Utah Jazz. Everybody said it was the perfect fitting end and cap to a career. As he stood there, his arm extended, and gave them the winning points to win their 6th championship. That was a sad day in my life. 26 years ago today. Luckily, he came back a couple of years later and ended up retiring for a 3rd time and final one. But should he have retired and called it quits for good 26 years ago today?
If you want the perfect storybook ending, yes. But at the same time, it is his career. He is free to do with it as he pleases. And it wasn't like I didn't appreciate the fact that when he did come back, that I got to see some more Jordan. Older Jordan, but still Michael Jordan. So for a purely selfish reason, cool. I was all right with him coming back.
Yeah.
The fact that it was on the Washington Wizards, not that great, but whatever. If he wanted the perfect storybook ending, then you end it right there and don't bother coming back.
Yeah. Tonight's a very exciting game in the NBA with Victor Wembanyama in his 2nd season, LeBron James in his 22nd season, and these two are all-stars, both going to be competing at a high level. It's amazing that LeBron is still able to be this good at 40 years old and in his 22nd season. And Victor is actually, I think, maybe a little bit better than I expected already in his 2nd year.
I think I sent you the Instagram of where he's at right now in his career, or where he was at actually, I would say 100 games in. Let's take it from there.
Yeah.
He scored more points than LeBron 100 games in. He's had more 3-pointers than Steph Curry, which is the most surprising thing I've ever seen 100 games in. He has more blocks than Hakeem Olajuwon 100 games in.
Yeah.
So he's the next thing. He's it. Yeah. He will be the face of the league soon. Yeah. I think you could actually say this. I'm going to say this. He's already the Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah.
I think he's already ran away with that. I think that's already spoken for. He's got it.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to the old bull meeting the young, new up and comer, the young bull. and it's going to be awesome because I really appreciate watching him play because like he's got, what is it? I would say he's got the skills of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when it comes to scoring, but he can also pass a little bit like Magic, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Amazing. Yeah, incredible. Love watching him. It's going to be a fun game to watch tonight. After the football, I'm definitely watching it. I'm recording it this evening to watch it later. It should be fun. Two news and notes from the world of golf. Canadian Nick Taylor won his 5th PGA tournament over the weekend in Hawaii at the Sentry Open. He won it in a playoff. His last 3 wins have all come in a playoff in very dramatic fashion. He had missed 2 really short putts on the 15th and 16th hole heading in. He was 2 shots behind the leader as he reached 18. He was off the green, needed to chip it in to make the playoff, and he did. It was a dramatic, amazing shot. He was able to drain it, went into a playoff and won it on the 2nd playoff hole, and reached 5 victories in his career. He's one of select few that have won 3 years in a row on the PGA Tour in the past 25 years. And he has really started to reach that upper echelon of the best Canadian male golfers of all time. Mike Weir ended up finishing his PGA Tour career with 8 PGA Tour victories. Nick Taylor has 5, and a great way to kick off this 2025 season, only the 2nd tournament in. Last year's tournament he won on Super Bowl Sunday down in Scottsdale, Arizona. And so he's already a little bit ahead of the curve this year. And really good to see tons of Canadians down there, tons of flags waving. Actually, a family friend was down there, posted a bunch of pictures on Facebook showing he was following around the Canadian golfers. And it was awesome to watch. Really good to see already a Canadian out of the gate, 2nd tournament in, getting a win.
That's awesome. That's awesome to see, awesome to hear. The fact that he has a chance at tracking down Mike Weir to be the best or to have the most wins in PGA as a Canadian, absolutely amazing. And he's off to a great start so far this year. So hopefully he continues it, he keeps going for it, and he has a couple more wins under his belt by the end of the year.
I've got something here I'm trying to find. I took a picture of it. Bear with me for a second. But in the meantime, I'll mention that the TGL Golf, we mentioned it last week, kicks off for its 2nd week tomorrow, and Tiger Woods will be teeing off for the first time. They're called the Jupiter Links Golf Club, and it's Tiger Woods, Kevin Kisner, and Max Homa. And they're facing the LA Golf Club, Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, and Sahith Theegala. Should be fun to watch. The first week was really, really fun to watch. The Bay area team ended up winning 9-2 that day and had a really fantastic performance. But this is really good to see Tiger teeing it off. This will be in his element because he doesn't have to walk the course. He doesn't have to get himself super burnt out with his leg issues, his injury troubles. He can just play golf at his highest level and not get really fatigued by having to walk the entire course over the 4 days.
Yeah, and that's probably part of the reason why they developed this way of golf, like this idea that's formulated. And I think that's great. I think it's great for anybody that's been suffering from injuries or long-term injuries. That always loved golf, but it's like they're limited in how much they can play it or how much they can walk the course. So I think this is cool. I think it's cool for them, and it's cool that they came up with this. And it'll just be great to see Tiger back out there hitting the ball again. Always good to see him.
Can't wait. Yeah, it's exciting and really cool. I think it's very good for a lot of golfers. I think this could be revolutionary, even maybe for the senior guys, because a lot of them start getting injury troubles and have a hard time walking the course, which is mandatory. And we could see some elite level play of guys that are still really, really good at the game when they're standing there taking the shot, making the shots, but the physical aspect and nature of the sport really limits them. I think this could be really good for a ton of them as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think it could be very, very good, life-changing.
Okay, this is a stat that's the last 5 players with PGA Tour playoff wins in 3 consecutive seasons. So Nick Taylor's doing it this year, 3 straight years. Bubba Watson last did it 2010 to 2012. Ernie Els did it from 2002 to 2004. Phil Mickelson did it from 2000 to 2002. And Tiger Woods did it 4 straight years from 98 to 2002. So Nick Taylor amongst those names. When you make it into a playoffs, usually you really have to be clutch. You really have to have the ability to shut out the noise, the ability to make these tough shots when the whole entire gallery is watching you, the pressure's on. You win, you collect the check, you get the trophy. You don't, you go home a bit sad. It's pretty incredible that he's been able to join this elite company and keep winning, even when it gets to extra holes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like the fact that he's able to continue to push through and compete under that kind of pressure is absolutely awesome. It's amazing that he's able to do that, and hopefully he can continue to do that throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope. He sits second now in the FedEx standings. Hideki Matsuyama is first. He won the opening tournament of the year. Nick Taylor sits second. That rose him up 46 places on the FedEx leaderboard. Colin Morikawa and Sanjay M fell down 1 place each to third and fourth. Nico Echeverria, who Nick Taylor edged in the playoffs, sits now in 5th place. That moved him up 27 places on the board. The top 10 round out are Jonathan Vegas, Thomas Dietrich, Corey Connors, Canadian Corey Connors is in 8th. Ludwig Aberg and Harry Hall round out the top 10. Aberg was one of the winners last week with that Bay Area club. So fresh off being able to play on both the PGA Tour and the TGL. Kind of nice that he can keep sharp, win a lot of money in both leagues. That's kind of cool.
Oh, it's very cool that he's able to do that. And as you said, win a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One kind of bad note that I want to make mention of before we get into the NFL breakdown is that Caitlin Clark has been the victim of a stalker, and luckily they have now arrested the man. He has been jailed for repeated stalking and harassment. He has been sending her threatening messages, was really telling her that he was around her home, around when she at the arena when she would be playing, had been going on for quite a while. Luckily, they finally were able to get this guy, put him in jail. He faces up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine over doing this. In December, another man was charged with stalking of UConn basketball player Paige Beckers, and he was convicted. And hopefully this guy will be jailed, really learn his lesson and leave her alone. She said she's been fearful for her life and has been having to travel incognito, has been having to get extra security around her. It's just really, really, really bad. I think there's some mental health issues with this guy, but this is sad that she has to deal with this, and these athletes have to deal with this at all. It's pretty tragic and pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's sad that anybody has to deal with that, especially athletes in that limelight like Caitlin or celebrities of that ilk. It sucks. Hopefully, said person that has gone to jail stays there for quite some time, gets the help that he needs, and stops doing this. That's what you hope for, and that's hopefully what happens. But glad to hear, for the most first off, that she's safe,
Yeah.
The person's been dealt with, and now he's going through the judicial system as he should.
Yeah. One last note from the football world before we get into the NFL breakdown. Great news today for the Penn State Nittany Lions. Both Nick Singleton and Katron Allen both announced Monday that they would plan to return to the Nittany Lions for the 2025 season. The dual threat running backs were able to really elevate that team to some great heights this year. Really return the Nittany Lions to very high level notoriety on the college football scale. Each of them topped 1,000 yards this year as the Nittany Lions went 13-2 on the year. Singleton ran for 1,099 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns, and Allen had 1,108 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns. So incredible. They were both represented with agent Drew Rosenhaus, and kind of cool that he was able to convince them to stay one more year. They were both rated very high to come out in the NFL draft, but they want to return for some unfinished business, win the national championship together, and proceed into the NFL after that.
That's cool. I always like that. I always like, because like, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's beneficial, especially for football players, to get more reps in before they go into the professional league. Because I think it does them well to even prepare their body even more so for the rigors of being a pro. So, and for the fact that we still have unfinished business. They want to win that national championship. So good for them.
Yeah. Drew Allar, their quarterback, he made mention that he last week that he will return next season. And the only guy that they're losing that's going to be impactful right now is the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, Abdul Carter. He's expected to be among the first few players taken in the draft this year, and he also is represented by Drew Rosenhaus. So he will leave, but good to see some of those guys from Penn State will be returning. Penn State was beaten 27-24 by Notre Dame on Thursday. This was a hell of a game. Incredible way to kick off the semifinals. And Notre Dame now is 14-1. They are in the final, but this was a fantastic football game. Really, really great to watch. And Notre Dame utilized, a very, very incredible defense as well as a good offense. And their top receiver for Notre Dame was Jaden Greathouse. What a great name. He took it to the house once, 7 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown. Jeremiah Love was good as usual, and he scored a touchdown. Riley Leonard got one on the ground, one through the air, and Notre Dame was able to knock off Penn State and advance to the final. Great game. It was a really, really fun one to watch.
I watched some of the highlights. It was a great game. I'm very impressed with the coach for Notre Dame, Freeman.
Yeah,
Freeman, right?
Marcus
Coach Freeman.
Yeah,
he has brought in an excellent culture to the Notre Dame college football team. He's got those young men playing so hard, so well, and I attribute a lot of their success to him and what he's done.
Yeah, he's actually interviewing for the Chicago Bears head coaching job this week.
Man, that sucks for Notre Dame, but I would say this. I think the man knows exactly what he's doing. I think he would be good for the Chicago Bears. I really do.
Yeah.
Like if it's not him that they take, then they should take a serious look at Mike McCarthy as well.
Yeah. McCarthy will be thrown into the mix, I'm sure. Interim head coach Thomas Brown is going to be entered this week as well. I hear also Ron Rivera will be getting a look as well as a few others. So, but Marcus Freeman, has really, become very well known nationally because of what he's done there in Notre Dame, leading the team all the way to the college football finals that happen next week. And yeah, it's I'm sure he would be great there. I kind of hope he stays in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Keeps this going there. But yeah, he'd be a great addition to any coaching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree. 100%.
The other game, the other semifinal game was the Ohio State Buckeyes. Came in ranked number 6 in this playoff, knocked off the number 3 Texas Longhorns, 28-14 to advance to the final as well. This was kind of not as close as that other game for sure. It just seemed like Ohio State was a bit better in every area. Their top guy, their quarterback, Will Howard, had a phenomenal game, almost 300 yards passing with a touchdown. And Quishon Judkins, he ended up getting 2 touchdowns on the ground for them. Very, very brutal juggernaut that Ohio State is. I kind of feel like they will be the prohibitive favorites going into that Notre Dame game, but this should be one of those games that we remember for years and years to come, seeing these two guys facing each other. And I think a ton of these guys will end up advancing into the pros eventually.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. It also, too, kind of funny enough, it seems to me that Ohio State maybe a little too low in the rankings.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe maybe number 6 wasn't their actual true ranking. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah. I think they're gonna revamp the college
I think they're
football
gonna have to.
playoff formats and yeah, rank them a bit better, because all those 4 teams that got buys all got beat, all ranked higher, all lost. It just seemed like this was an experiment that just didn't quite work. I think we did get the 2 best teams eventually at the end, so I guess that's something that they can hang their hat on. But the rankings should be a little bit better worked out as they head in.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would definitely agree with that, because number 6 for Ohio State, as they're just beating up on everybody else. Okay, all right then, cool.
Yeah, yeah. I do look forward to seeing a lot of these guys make the pros. Quinn Ewers, a really good game, except for one really horrible pick right at the end of the game. He threw it across the middle, ended up costing them the game. But Jaden Blue, his top receiver, had a couple touchdowns in the game, and I think he's going to be a really good pro heading forward. And yeah, it's going to be fun to see these guys eventually in the big show. So okay, let's break down some of these games in the NFL playoffs. I guess we'll kind of start the way it went over the weekend. First game out was the LA Chargers facing off against the Houston Texans, and I can tell you that I haven't been annoyed very much more than a game than this one. This one just really, really, really bothered me. I thought after blowing a 27-0 lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars last year in the playoffs, we couldn't reach another low, but this one might have taken the cake. I'm wearing Justin Herbert's jersey in solidarity, but maybe last year, if I didn't declare that I was completely not going to ever cheer for the Chargers again, I might have just said that this is it. This is my final straw. But so bizarre to see Justin Herbert have an entire 17-game regular season and only throw 3 picks. And in the first playoff game, he throws more than that in the entire year. He throws 4 picks. You can't blame him for all 4, but this was the worst game of his life. I'm going to go on record to say this is the worst game that Justin Herbert's ever had in his life, and it comes at a really, really bad time, because it seemed like the Chargers going into this game really had upset on their mind, really had the ability to advance to the divisional round and make a run at this thing. And after a okay start, they just absolutely laid an egg, and it was embarrassing. It was terrible, and a lot of blame has to go around, but Herbert has to wear some of this after a really terrible performance.
Some of the interceptions weren't his fault.
No.
So let's be honest there. Some of them weren't his fault. Some of them definitely were. The one interception I thought that was egregious was the one that he went cross field.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
First off,
Cross his body, cross
yeah,
field. Yeah.
cross field. Like
Not good.
the pass had to have been perfect
Yeah.
for it to have been a completion. It wasn't perfect. It got picked off. And then it was just a snowball effect after that. They could never actually gain any traction.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and the Texans were just good. They were good. They were solid. Stroud only had the one turnover, the one interception. So they were good in that respect. Yeah. And so they deserved that win. Mixon was great. 25 carries, 106 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins did what he's supposed to do. 7 receptions, 122 yards and a touchdown. But here's the good thing about where the Chargers are actually at. Here's the good stuff. They got Jim Harbaugh. They're going to be all right.
Yeah.
They're going to be. You got to keep telling yourself that. That's what I kept telling myself, that. They got Jim Harbaugh. They're going to be all right. This is going to happen. And I hope that Herbert learns from this. All right?
Yeah.
Because you can't turn over the ball and hope to win. It's not going to happen, especially not in the playoffs. Every turnover it's just another chance for the other team to score. And when it's in the playoffs like that, they're going to score.
Yeah. This comes down to play calling in so much regards for me. Greg Roman, their offensive coordinator, messed up this game. Like, it just really pissed me off that they've got J.K. Dobbins there and he barely touched the ball. He had 9 carries. And that's not the way you want to do it. They were teeing off on Herbert. They sacked him 4 times. They picked him off 4 times. They pressured the hell out of him. He got hit, I think, 9 times overall. And there was no threat of a run. And I don't get it. The Chargers this entire year relied on a great defense and a good running game. When Dobbins was out, they struggled. He's back now. He's healthy. They didn't run the ball. And after a while, Houston was able to just pin their ears back and go after Herbert because they knew they were just throwing the ball. They weren't going to have a threat of a run. And it's just maddening when I can see it, you can see it, everybody can see it, but for some reason, the guys that need to see it don't see it, and they screw up, and they really ended up making Herbert look a lot worse than he should have, because if they had a running game, he would have had a lot more opportunities to have a fresh pocket, to have some openings, and this game goes differently. Too many drives were stymied really quickly because of a couple of passes not completed. Boom, turning over the ball. And this happened in that 27-0 debacle. If they run the ball in that second half, there's no way that the Jags win that game. Well, this game, right from the start, they barely had a running game, and this cost them big time.
Yeah, they never established the run. And then once they got behind, they felt that they needed the pass more, where I kind of thought, why don't you still try to establish the run and try to slow down the game?
No.
Try to slow down the game and make sure that the Texans get the ball with less time in the quarter, on the clock, or whatever, where you retain the ball, right? And that's why you run the ball. But they I guess they didn't think about that. And they just kept trying to pass the ball, and that's what happened.
I almost hung up my jersey and said that's it for the Chargers because of them letting go 3 incredible weapons: Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Austin Eckler. All 3 of those guys were just beasts on offense, and you could rely on them heavily. And
could have used them.
You could have used them in this game big time. All 3 of those guys really contribute and could have contributed to a victory. And a lot of guys, a lot of people sort of got a little bit snowed because they had such an amazing defense, and Herbert kept control of the ball all through the regular season and didn't give it up. So they were winning the turnover battle. They were winning the defensive battle. They were scoring enough points to win enough games to make the playoffs. But when you look at who they have as the receivers, it's kind of ridiculous. I can't say anything negative against Ladd McConkey. He had a phenomenal rookie season. Set some records for rookie catches, yardage, had an amazing game this game, but everybody else really just weren't there. Quentin Johnson dropped some big balls that he should have caught. Will Dissly, he's a decent tight end, but he's more of a blocking tight end. The massive body he is. We got Darius Davis, DJ Clark, Simi Faholmu. I mentioned Quentin Johnson, Tucker Fisk. Oh my God, like what the hell? Like we got Tucker. He's had 8 catches in his career. Davis has had 15 catches for 66 yards in his career. We tried Haskins back there, running back. We tried to throw him the ball. 11 catches for 57 yards in his career. DJ Chark has some decent numbers before he came here. This entire season, he had 4 catches for 31 yards. So, you can't expect Herbert to do much when you got that kind of receiving core out there. McConkey did as much as he could, but then it drops off the face of the earth when it comes to the second, third, fourth, and fifth options.
Yeah, because there is no second, third, or fourth, or fifth option. There's Lad McConkey, and there's more Lad McConkey. Awesome. And thank goodness you actually even have Lad McConkey. If you didn't have him, you wouldn't have anybody to pass to.
Yeah.
At all.
It's incredible that he had such a great year, but
yeah,
wow, amazing. Josh Palmer was hurt. That really hurt them. Hayden Hurst, their other tight end, was also hurt going into this game. They had their top tackle. Trey Pipkins was out. But yeah, this hurts. This stings. This was a year that it just seemed the stars aligned and they faced the lowest division winner, and Houston didn't go in gangbusters. It looked like, this was ripe for the picking, and I think they just blew it. They should have ran the ball. They should have got another receiver or 2. They should have handed the ball off to Dobkins 25 times. Every game this weekend, except for the Washington game, the team that ran the ball 25, 30 times won handily, easily, and this could have been a day where I would have been celebrating. You and I, both Chargers fans, could have been super happy, looking forward to another game coming up this weekend. But it's another post-mortem where we got to be wringing our hands and wondering if Herbert's our guy when you're not really giving him a big shot with giving him a rookie as your number 1 guy and then nobody else. That doesn't seem fair to me.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right. Hopefully it's addressed in the off season. Hopefully they say, you know what? I guess we do need weapons on offense. I didn't think of that. Yeah. No way. Really? Hopefully that happens. Yeah. Because it's clear as day. If they had all those guys that they decided to let go because they're just like, we don't need you. Well, it probably would have been a very, very, very different score in this particular game if all those guys were still there.
And I don't understand why they don't utilize Herbert a little more in the running game. He can run, but they almost never call any plays. He doesn't scramble when there isn't anybody open. And that's something that I think they've got to implement. We see the running quarterback just helping so much out when everybody's covered. He's the only one that's not. You might as well run, get yourself some first downs, get some ways of getting some plays off that just weren't working because the coverage was good. I don't understand why they don't have anything for him, and they just didn't utilize him in the running game at all because he can run. I've seen him run.
No, he can run. He can run, and they should utilize him because he does have legs. He does have wheels, and he has the ability to do that, to extend plays. I think they're trying to protect him as much as they can. Yeah. Maybe that's even coming from him. We don't know what's going on in that locker room. But at the same time, you got to use all the tools, man. You got to use all the tools if you want to win.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Houston. They did it. They were down early, but they stayed the course. Mixon was phenomenal. I was happy with their play calling early because they were just relying on CJ Stroud, and they were trying to not have a running game. And I was thinking, oh, good, because I'm scared of Mixon. I thought, if he gets going, this could be trouble for them. Once he did that one play that Stroud made where the snap was fumbled, he ran towards the sideline, threw it across the middle on a third down play, seemed to just turn the tide. It just seemed to change momentum. It shifted the Houston's way, and boom, they scored the next 30 points and got the win easily. Also, their defense, we got to mention Derek Stingley with 2 picks, Eric Murray with the pick 6, and Kamari Lassiter with the 4th pick. Those guys were absolutely massive. And really, when you get 4 picks, the record is insane. It's just almost impossible to win a game when you got 4 picks. And I think it's 3 and 33 in the playoffs is the record for teams that have thrown 4 picks. And so you got to give massive amount of credit to that defense.
Massive amount of credit to that defense, especially the front 7 that was pressuring and hurrying and sacking Herbert the entirety of that game. He didn't really have a lot of time back there.
No.
Like he really did. Like every time he rolled back, it was just like, oh, there's another guy in my face, and another guy, and another guy, another guy. Yeah.
I think the other record was I had it in the regular season when a quarterback's thrown 4 picks. It's 55, 585 and 1. So not good, not gonna win when you're doing that. And that was a little insane and tough. Nico Collins was good. As I said, Mixon was great. And they move on. Houston will travel to KC, obviously super tough matchup. KC's the number 1 seed, 2-time defending Super Bowl champion. And I think it's 23 days rest they have going into this one. Do you think there's any rust? Do you think this game could actually be competitive?
If you look at how their season has gone for KC, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think you give them like 2 months, I think it'd be fine. I think they'll just go out there and just do what they're going to do. Yeah. I have this feeling that it's going to be a close game. It might come down to the last couple of plays, but whatever those plays are, it will just go KC's way.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be. It's just going to go their way. Whether it's because of the refs or it's because of excellent play by the KC or the fact that the Texans made a mistake. I don't know why it is this season, but it feels like it's just KC's year for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because they just win all the close games.
They figure out how to win. They just know how to win. Yeah, they just
know how to win.
Somehow can just figure it out. Yeah, so it seems like they're a team of destiny. 3-time champion. I would not be surprised if they pull this off. But Houston, incredible for CJ Stroud to win 2 straight playoff games. First 2 years, very select few that have done that. It goes back to Mark Sanchez, who actually had a pretty good start to his career, was able to win the first 2 playoff games of his career. And then the butt fumble kind of soured everybody on him. But great on CJ Stroud leading this team to another victory.
Yeah, great on him to doing that. He was great, and he was steady. He was the steadying influence for that football team.
Okay, let's turn to the second game on Saturday, the matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Steelers. This is a game that we've seen so much over the years. It's Baltimore, Pittsburgh every year. The 2 coaches facing each other, the second most in NFL history behind George Halas and Curly Lambeau back to the Chicago Green Bay days. And I think Halas was there 40 years. Incredible. We've seen this matchup year after year after year in so many battles, but Pittsburgh just decided not to battle. First half, ridiculous, horrible. I don't know what the hell was that, but it wasn't Steelers football. It was terrible. Really, really poor play calling. really bad establishing the running game and stopping the running game. I have never seen the Steelers get just blown up on the running game that bad. They gave up 299 rushing yards, and Baltimore said, we're not passing the ball. We're just going to run the ball and try to stop it. And the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't load the box. They didn't cover every hole. They didn't stop Lamar and Derrick Henry from running the ball. It was 21-0 at halftime. Most people probably turned off the game because it was just so one-sided. I would have been disgusted if I was a Steelers fan from the effort I saw and the just blowout that happened in the first half. They won the second half when they started running the ball and they started allowing Russ to throw his nice moon ball pinpoint passes, but it was too little too late, and Baltimore moves on. Steelers, another flame out early, 6 straight blowout loss in the playoffs, and one and done again, and people are now really questioning what the hell is going on in Pittsburgh. The standard is the standard, and the standard is not acceptable. This team shouldn't flame out this bad again and again and again. And Baltimore, they were the better team, but Pittsburgh just really could have been a lot better in this one, and they just couldn't bring it. They just didn't do it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Herb Street that was on the game. He was calling this game, I think it was, because he kept calling it out, and I saw it too. Where's the fight? Where's the fight from the Steelers? He kept saying that over and over in the game until finally in the second half there was some. But I found that the play calling in the first half for the Steelers was way too conservative.
Oh,
you're gonna win, go for it.
Ridiculous. Oh, it was just pathetic. I was shocked. They didn't let Russ go. If they weren't going to let Russ go, then bring Fields in and do something with him, but they didn't even do that. So it was the most conservative play calling you ever seen, and it was dumb because it wasn't working. So why keep it that way? They abandoned it and changed it in the second half, and suddenly you saw them, wow, okay, this is good, but too little too late.
Yeah, exactly. Too little too late. And by the way, the Ravens were just like, well, we got Lamar, we got big old Henry back here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep running it. We're just going to keep running and running and running and running. And that's it. And that's all they had to do. Because it's like, we can't stop either one of these dudes right now. Yeah. We can't do anything right now. Like, I was disappointed. I was disappointed in the Steelers. I was just disappointed in seeing their level of fight. Because it just didn't seem to be there. For this particular game, right? And like you said, Lamar, 15 carries for 81 yards, and Derrick Henry, 26 carries for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. That just meant that it's like Henry was just licking his lips, being like, look at this. I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat well.
Just keep feeding me. Keep feeding me. Oh, my God. Man. Yeah, and why wouldn't you employ a defensive scheme and game plan to shut down the 2 top guys? Zay Flowers is out. That's their number 1 wide receiver. So their top guy isn't there. So I think I'm going to shut down the running game. All right. I'm going to make sure that I plug every hole in the line. I'm getting my linebackers right there. I'm covering the line. Just make you can't beat me this way. And make sure I got somebody on Lamar all the time and try to beat me some other way. But why wouldn't they employ that? It's dumb. It's crazy. It's just shocking that somebody that runs an NFL team just can screw up this badly and mess up a promising season that, Pittsburgh might have been able to compete because they know these guys. They face them year after year after year, and they know them. They've already beat them once this year, and they just absolutely crapped the bed and had no fight, like you say. And that's not Steelers football. That's not Steelers football. And Tomlin, a guy I love and respect beyond belief, but there was a disconnect there, and I don't know how he didn't get that team ready and why there wasn't fight.
Yeah, that's that's the big question. Like, why was there not any fight there? Like, I don't, because now the question is, he's had all of these winning seasons year after year after year, but now for the last couple of years, he can't even get past the first round of the playoffs.
No.
Now that's actually now becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Because like they're not able to take the next step.
No, it's been 8 years. It's been 8 years since they've been past that first round. So that's not acceptable. It shouldn't be. And yeah, it's great. Regular season, having a winning record every season he's been there, that's great. But the playoffs matter, and you had the opportunity. You're facing a team that actually you can beat because you know how. You spend all year having to try to beat them, win that division, and you get to face them again for a third time. This should have been a very close game. I was leaning towards Baltimore because they've got Lamar and Henry, but Pittsburgh just needed to shut those two guys down, needed to at least contain the hell out of them, and they didn't do that. And they're home now. I don't know if Pittsburgh makes a change because they are notoriously for sticking with guys forever and ever and ever and ever. It was Chuck Noll for 40 years. It was Bill Cowher for another 20 years. Now it's Mike Tomlin for another 20 years. But something seriously needs to change here. I don't know what the direction of this team. I don't think anybody knows because I don't think they know who their quarterback's going to be. I don't know who they think is going to be the running back, their receivers, anybody. Pickens had a lot of issues this year with this team. I've never seen TJ Watt get shut down so badly. You look right now, just pull up the stats and look, he's not even listed. He's not even anywhere even listed. It was like he didn't even play that game. And that's pretty bizarre for a guy that's that dominant usually. It was weird. It was strange. And it didn't resemble the Pittsburgh Steelers that I've seen for my entire life.
No, it didn't. It didn't resemble that. I think there's a lot of defensive scheming to limit TJ Watt's ability to affect the game. Yeah. Right. So I think that was part of it too as well. And it's going back to Tomlin. I don't know if I will never say that he's lost the locker room. I don't think that's the thing, but I think there is definitely what you're saying is there's some sort of weird disconnect between his messaging and the team and whatever they're doing now on the field. And the other thing is too, and I think it's one of the bigger issues for the Steelers, they don't have a quarterback, man.
No.
And they haven't had a quarterback for a long, long time. Yeah. The last great quarterback they had was Big Ben.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems for the team. They need a quarterback. I don't know where they're going to get a quarterback, but they need somebody that they can rely on back there. So, yeah. And they don't have that guy.
Don't have that guy. Ravens, great. Move forward. The cool thing about the AFC is we actually have the same 4 teams in from last year divisional round in this year. The matchups are swapped, but all 4 teams made it back from last year. And the cool thing is that the Ravens are playing the Bills, and we get to see Lamar against Josh, the 2 MVP front runners all year. Both had incredible seasons, put up phenomenal numbers, and we have a dream matchup. I don't think you could have scripted this any better. This is incredible. Unless this could have been, a week later somehow we could match it up in the Super Bowl. But holy shit, this is great. We get to see these two, and it won't have any effect on the MVP voting, but it sure will propel a guy forward that has been not able to get his team to the promised land, and the other guy, another question mark on what happened. But man, am I ever looking forward to that game. I wish I could just fast forward the week to kickoff of that day.
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to that game. I am hoping that it's going to be like a game for the ages.
Yeah.
That it's just going to be last person that has the ball is going to probably win the game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for in this particular game. I hope both the guys have one of their best games of the season. As a football fan, that's what I want to see. That's what I'm hoping for. And by the way, I don't know who's going to win that game. I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's
Flip
that's a hard one. I don't know. Let's see. I'll quickly try to pull up the odds, but
it's got to be close,
I don't know
man.
who
like,
is
probably
favored in
3.5
that. But yeah, that is a game that should be absolutely incredible and really, really exciting. Let's see. Odds makers set the game as a near coin flip from this particular one. They've got Ravens favored by 1.5 on this particular book. But yeah, near coin flip. Yeah, so can't wait. One last thing I want to mention about the Steelers is Mike Williams had one catch in that game for 37 yards. I think you should have thrown to him more. And I think the Chargers should have kept that guy. One catch, 37 yards. You could have maybe possibly won that game against Houston. Really tragic and not good. But okay, we talked about the Ravens Steelers. Now let's talk about the Bills, the Ravens opponent coming up. This game was expected to be a blowout. It turned out to be a blowout, but early on, the Broncos took the opening drive way down the field. Bo Nix looked phenomenal with a broken back and all, and scored that opening touchdown. But then the Bills took over. This was the Josh Allen, James Cook show. Really, this is the recipe for success. Any NFL team, watch how teams win games. They win with a great quarterback, a good running game, and a good defense. And all three were displayed here. They were able to get the really nice 31-7 win and advance. And now they get to host the Ravens at their home. Bills Mafia are going to go off. It's going to be insane there. Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
It was almost as if the Bills were just like, you know what? I'm going to give you that one. Give you a touchdown.
Yeah.
Feel good about yourself.
Spot.
Yeah, we're going to spot you that. Yeah. Now we're going to crush you. No.
Yeah.
And it pretty much that's the way it played out, man. At Josh Allen, again, in MVP form, 20 of 26, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 46 yards. James Cook was awesome, had 120 yards, a touchdown. Like, they just, they just slowly, but for sure, crushed their opponent.
Yeah.
It was just like a slow avalanche where it's like, you see it coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah. Nothing you can do. Yeah. No, it was great. I love seeing Cook do so well. I was a huge fan of Dalvin Cook, and I'm amazed that he's basically out of the league now, and nobody wants him. Early 30s, but James has come in. He actually tied the record that O.J. Simpson had for the most rushing touchdowns in a season. He was 1 or 2 in the league with touchdowns this year, and they implemented him super well. We're able to get him a ton of touches and just generate really good sustained drives. The receiving core that Josh Allen has had over the years has always had a really number one guy. This year, not really, but he's been able to utilize Samuel, Shakir, and Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid really well, and I was pretty impressed. The other guy that I was impressed with also, the running back, was Taron Johnson. 9 carries for 44 yards, 2 catches for 26 yards, and a touchdown. That's your backup running back. That's pretty incredible. Josh Allen hasn't had the weapons that he's needed, but he's been able to suddenly. I think there's pieces coming around this team that I think can really propel them forward. But yeah, wow. this titanic matchup between them and the Ravens is really going to just show the proofs in the pudding. Who's got the best team? Let's lay it all on the line, and definitely to me the game of the year.
Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so good because you got literally the two guys going for MVP of the league going up against each other. I don't know if this game's going to determine who gets it, but it probably shouldn't. But at the same time, it's going to be just fantastic to see. And again, as I've said before, I just hope that they both have like their best games of the year. Yeah. I hope that's what it is. I hope that's what we all get to see.
Yeah, that kicks off 3:30 Pacific Sunday, 6:30 Eastern time. So last game of the weekend. For some reason, the Broncos also didn't employ their running game at all. They gave Javonte Williams 7 carries for 29 yards, 2 passes out of the backfield for 14 yards. They barely used Marvin Mims, who was phenomenal recently. Franklin was the only guy that scored a touchdown from them. Sutton had an okay game, but Broncos back to the drawing board. Get Bo Nix's back better, and I'm sure they'll make the playoffs next year after being able to get that cap money back and back to the playoffs, I'm sure. Let's turn to the Eagles-Packers game. The Packers come out of the toughest division in football. The Lions were 15-2 on the year. The Vikings were 14-3, and the Packers come in 11-6 this year. And I expected more of them coming through a really, really super tough year. Winning a playoff game last year. They've got good running back. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a good defense. They seem to have all the pieces in place, and they were horrible in the first half of that game. Horrible. Jordan Love had one of his worst games as well in this one. The Eagles should have blown this team out with 4 turnovers for the Packers. Really just didn't bring much to the table. This game was way closer than it should have been. Eagles do win 22-10, but I expected more of the Packers, and I'm not sure what happened there.
Just didn't have it. Like Love ended up with like 3 interceptions. Like it just seemed like they could never get their offense started on the right foot.
Yeah.
Like they just couldn't get started properly. Whereas for the Eagles, they just did enough to get by. They did enough to win. And by the way, I want to say at the end of the game, Saquon could have scored that touchdown.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He could have had 200 yards rushing, and he should have scored that touchdown. Like, if he scores that touchdown, there's no way Green Bay comes back still. I don't think it was, I personally wouldn't have thought it was a selfish move. And he wasn't going to get hurt on it. He was going to run down the field untouched and score a touchdown and get almost 200 yards. But, people applauded him. Hey, that was selfless and way to go. But, he could have scored that touchdown for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely, I don't think there was anybody that was going to catch it. So when he did that, I was just like, I guess burn the clock, I guess. But at the same time, I'm like, but you really want to go for the jugular. It's the playoff.
That would have put him up like 19 points if they kick an extra point. That put him up 19 points there was 1 minute and 4 seconds left, I think, when he kneeled down. So to me, it didn't make a ton of sense. But I guess you live another day, and he'll always be remembered for that probably.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So and the other thing is that the Eagles they're just super deadly. They're like one of the few teams that have this in their toolbox, which is if it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get it. Like I love the fact that they went for like that the one play action play where they thought they were just gonna do the tush push.
Yeah.
And he was open.
Yeah, just didn't hit him. Yeah.
They just didn't hit him.
Just didn't
hit him.
But
and then they just go, doesn't matter. 4th and 1. They just went for the tush push.
Anyway and got
right?
it. Yeah.
So that them having that play and knowing that they can get it whenever they want.
Yeah.
And it's such a weapon that they have, and it's such a compliment to like the offense that they can do that whenever they want, like, literally whenever they want. So
always been an Eagles fan my entire life. Really appreciate what they bring to the table, and they really should show what Pittsburgh needed to show. They have the toughness. There was so much toughness from the Eagles in this game, and is every game all season long. That offensive line is the best in football, bar none, and just absolutely gives the protection that Hurts needs and opens the holes when they're running the ball for Saquon. The holes that he finds before contact are far and above any team. He never saw it in New York, and he still had a good career there. Now that he's in Pittsburgh and they can easily get third and fourth down conversions all the time, can protect Hurts, can open the hole for the running game. It's phenomenal. The other toughness aspect that I saw was Dallas Goedert, and he was getting in the end zone on that pass play. He stiff-armed the guy about 4 times in the face as he was trying to get into that end zone, and that was the kind of toughness that their Pennsylvania state rivals needed to show. This is what the Eagles did, and it propelled them farther, and it will help them possibly win another Super Bowl. The toughness they showed, bar none, the best. And as I said, that O-line, I love them. Every single guy needs to be applauded heavily for what they bring to the table and how they help this team keep winning week after week.
Well, Saquon definitely understands the importance of those guys up front. Wore that one T-shirt, said, "How about them boys up front?" or something like that.
Yeah.
So he absolutely knows for a fact. He's like, "Well, I don't get 2,000 yards without them. This doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't do that by myself, right?"
My dad told me that he bought every one of those offensive linemen their own personal golf cart. They have this tricked out golf cart. They got spinners on the wheels. They got a boom system in there. He got them these tricked out, amazing golf carts for every single one of the guys, and they super appreciated it. It's pretty awesome.
That's actually a great gift. That's a fantastic gift. But then it just goes to show that the man that he is, that he shows that kind of level of appreciation. So that's cool. That's cool.
AJ Brown, the only guy that's a little bit of a head shaker. I hope he understands, how to be a good teammate, how to be, on the sideline. Get yourself focused, sure, but reading a book isn't going to do it. And let's save that for before the game, halftime, after the game. It was a bad look, and I'm siding with if it's a feud between him and Hurts, I'm siding with Hurts all day long.
Yeah, because guess what? Here's the thing that you never hear from Hurts. None of that shit. You don't hear that. Like, he's just like, just here for the team, trying to win games. Like, he's a man of few words, but he just doesn't talk. He doesn't talk about anything that distracts from winning.
No.
He just talks about winning. This is where everybody should be.
That's where everybody should be. You're right, 100%. I do feel a little bit bad for the Packers because of the injury troubles they had. They had Christian Watson go out last week with his torn ACL and gone for the year. They got decimated with injuries during this game. Dobbs got a concussion again. He missed games this year because of concussion protocol. They also had Jaden Reed go down. They had a lot of their offensive line going down.
Yeah.
It just seemed like every second play, there was another guy being carted off the field. It was brutal. And it's one of the reasons because of the really hard fight that the Eagles have. And they have on both defensive line, offensive line, they just beat up the Packers, and it was just a war of attrition. Eventually, Love had nobody to throw to. He just kept throwing it to the Eagles guys in the secondary, and this was not really a competitive game at all either.
No, it wasn't. And you're right. Like, the Packers just kept losing people here, there, everywhere. Like I think even their center, I think at the end of the game, he might have broke his leg.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh
It's
my
rough.
goodness. Yeah, it was rough, man. Rough.
Eagles now face the winner of the Rams Vikings game that just kicked off very recently here live, and the kickoff will be noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern Sunday. So that's the early game on Sunday. The Eagles were dealt a little bit of a blow today. They found out that linebacker Nakobe Dean suffered a knee injury and will be lost for the season. So that is a blow for them. He has had a phenomenal year, has contributed a ton to the team, and injuries have crept up for many teams. Packers got just decimated. Eagles will miss Nakobe Dean though.
No. They'll definitely miss him. They'll definitely miss his leadership on the field for sure.
Okay. Speaking of, okay, let's talk about the best game of the weekend. Really, the most competitive game of the weekend ended up being the Commanders beating the Bucs 23-20. This game really will be remembered, I think, for Baker Mayfield fumble deep into the Bucs end of the field. Commanders grabbed the ball, scored a touchdown. It was the only turnover of the game, and really seemed to be the reason why Washington was able to prevail and get the win.
Yeah, because the series before, I believe Washington had 4th and 5, didn't get it. So the Tampa Bay Bucs, the defense is psyched because they stopped them.
Got him.
Stopped them.
Yeah.
Give it back to Baker. Baker fumbles the ball. Oh, so we got to go back.
Yeah.
Awesome. It was great. And so they get to 4th and 2 again. And so you're like, oh, this could be good. But then Jaden Daniels goes, nope, still Jaden Daniels. Whoa, there we go. It was a touchdown. For me, I'm just going to say this. I was surprised both times because I thought for the 4th and 5, they just would have kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. And then I thought 4th and 2, I'm just going to kick the field goal again. Like, it's just as long as you're getting some points on the board. But I didn't do that. And then I realized why they didn't when it came to the end of the game. Oh, they don't trust their kicker.
Right.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Because he was as close as it gets, and he still doinked it in.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Dan Quinn actually has been a bit of that Dan Campbell riverboat gambler all year. They were actually the most successful team going for it on 4th down all year. I think he trusts Jaden Daniels to get a lot of those with his legs, and they were very successful this year. So you're right. I think they did it because they didn't trust Zane Gonzalez, who had a good game, who ended up kicking 3 field goals and the winner, but it was only a 37-yarder. And, if it goes an inch or two this way, it's not in. Luckily, it doinked and went in, but holy crap. That was insane that's how it ended, a doink through the uprights to give them the victory.
Yeah, like it was a ricochet, like in hockey. Like it's like hit the inside of the post, in, right on. It's like, oh, were you aiming for that? That's amazing. That's really good. Next time, maybe straight down the middle. That might be better. But
this is Canadian Tire money. I do have maybe a dollar bill in my pocket, but this is Canadian Tire money. This is supposedly how wide the uprights are in an NFL game. They say it's about a dollar bill. And it luckily hit about like here. If it would have hit about here, it's not in. It would have been boing right off and fallen down. This way, it falls that way. It just luckily he got it enough of a little bit onto the post this way, but insane that we got to talk about a doink winning. But Jaden Daniels, you got to be impressed with him. Great game. 270 yards passing, a couple touchdowns, and a lot of carries, not a lot of yardage, but he got those, he got out of the pocket. He didn't take sacks. He didn't, have any negative plays. He was able to get out, get rid of the ball, and live another day. And he's got Terry McLaurin, who I think is one of the most underrated receivers in the game. He made a phenomenal catch, over the shoulder catch that was just not very many players are going to make this catch. The touchdown that he got was really huge and big for this game. And I don't think he has a massive complement of weapons, but this team really had a great year. And you got to give a lot of credit to Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, and the complimentary team they have around him. Big win. I thought Tampa was going to win this game. This is the only team that came in and won on the road all weekend long. And it was very, very, very razor thin margin. I think just that fumble really just seemed to be the one that flipped the script and gave Washington the win instead of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was it. Like that was the turning point right there. Was that fumble, and the fact that Jaden Daniels was facing a ton of pressure, a lot of blitzes.
Yeah,
didn't turn over the ball.
No,
like that is absolutely awesome and incredible at the same time, because that's a rookie. So you're figuring, if I'm going to pressure him, we should get something out of this.
Yeah,
we got nothing.
They got nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
and that in itself super impressive, and the fact that they found their other receiver for the Commanders, Brown, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. They found him at some point in time during the regular season, and now he's a real legitimate weapon for the Commanders.
He had not caught 5 balls all season long in a game, so he had his best game of the year, and what a game to have it in. Incredible. I don't think a lot of people would have said Dyami Brown was the guy that was going to be the difference on offense for them, and he ended up being one of the main reasons why they got this win.
Yep, definitely he was one of the main reasons why they won this game. But also, too, I want to say hats off to the Buccaneers. Looks like they're going to be okay for the next couple of seasons, because they definitely found their guy, the guy that they trust, the guy that they believe in Baker Mayfield, who has literally resurrected his career since he's been to Tampa, since he took over from the great Tom Brady. Now, if that's not the hardest thing to follow up after, where you just go, oh, so the guy that just came in for the first year won a Super Bowl right away, and then play another year, and then he left. Now I get to follow after him. This should be easy. No, it is not.
Yeah, amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, it's great. It's incredible.
I'm impressed with Baker and what he's done. They've got Bucky Irvin there. They got Mike Evans. Godwin will be back. They definitely would have missed. They missed Godwin on this. That could have been tipping the scales in the favor of them. I love a lot of what the Bucs have, and they definitely have, I think, a lot of good days ahead. I think they're going to win this division year after year after year. And the only thing that blew me away about the Commanders was their lack of a running game. I was surprised. Brian Robinson was totally shut down, 10 carries for only 16 yards, and Austin Eckler only 8 carries for 27 yards. I think they should have given the ball more to Eckler, but not much of a running game there, but they still got the win. But now that gives them a road playoff game in Detroit. And even though Detroit's banged up, horrible amount of injuries on their defense, I think they'll be heavily favored in this one. They're the number 1 seed, got to rest this weekend. And that game goes Saturday, 5 o'clock kickoff Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time in Detroit, Rock City. What do you think? We talked about those Houston having to go to KC and play the number 1 seed on the other side. What about this low seed having to go in and try to play the number 1 seed Detroit Lions?
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because Detroit will be a rockin'. It's gonna be a hard ask, but I think there's a possibility that they could pull it off, because we know where Detroit's defense is at right now, which is not in the greatest of places. Because they have so many guys that are still injured or still unavailable. So it's a possibility. But at the same time, they're going to have to put up points on the board because the Lions are going to put points up on the board.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to score with them if they want to win this game.
I am going to be trading in some RRSPs this week. I'm going to find a prop bet for an NFL record for most fourth downs went for in an NFL game. Washington and Detroit, the two Dans, Dan Quinn, Dan Campbell, going for fourth down on double-digit occasions. That's my bold prediction, and I hope I win a huge amount of money. I think the prop bet is going to be like 1,000 to 1. This setting the NFL record for most fourth down chances gone for.
How about this? No punts.
Zero punts. Yeah.
Zero punts.
Just cut the kickers. Cut the kickers. Cut them. Don't even bring them on the trip. Don't allow them into the stadium. No punters, no field goal kickers. Just let's go for it. No matter what, we're not kicking the ball.
We're not kicking the ball.
That's what I asked for at the beginning of the season. I think we should just get rid of kickers off the rosters. I don't want to see kickers anymore. They're not needed. And just football like it's meant to be played, and just go for it every time.
Yeah, just gonna go for it. Like that would be awesome if they both did a gentleman's handshake. It's like, you're not gonna kick the ball, right? No, you no. All right, let's go for it. May the best man win.
Yeah, that fake punt that the Broncos had early on, that was pretty wild. That really caught them off guard, caught the Bills off guard. Yeah. And then 3 plays later, after they were Marvin Mims caught the pass from the punter, and then they had a 3 and out, and then he punted it again, and he punted it down, and Marvin Mims was able to catch it on the 1 yard line and pin the Bills back. But those were few and far between good moments for the Broncos. But yeah, no punts. I love it. No field goals, no punts, and just back to down old school football, just 4 yards cloud of dust, and let's go. Both Dans, fourth down. It should be fun. It should be a really entertaining game between two fun teams to watch.
Exactly, and it really will come down to this: who's got the bigger balls, this Dan or that other Dan? I'm going for the Dan Campbell. I think that's the guy that has the biggest ones.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, the last game of the weekend underway. I'm not going to dive into what's happening because I want to watch it. But this is the game between the Rams, who are supposed to be the home team, and the Vikings. This game was switched from LA to Glendale, Arizona because of the wildfire situation. I thought it was a really smart move on the NFL's part. The Rams ended up hiring about, I think, 30 or 40 buses to bus their fans to the game. I heard there's going to be a massive contingent of Rams fans there, even though it isn't their home stadium. The Vikings are 3-point favorites going into this one, but we talked about it last week, and this has upset written all over it. A 14-win team losing to a 10-win team because the Rams are healthy. They've got Puka, they've got Cooper, they got Demarcus Robinson, they got the full complement. This should be a very fun and interesting game between two really good offensive teams.
Yeah, no, I think it's just going to be a great game. I'm hoping that this game is just as good as the Commanders-Bucks game. Yeah. That's what I was hoping for. That's why I envisioned. And the only thing that the Vikings should be worried about in this game is if Darnold's going to have a hangover effect from that last game of the regular season against the Lions, which I don't believe he will, but it's still a possibility.
Yeah. They did meet in week 8. LA won 30-20. That was October 24th. Stafford had a good game, 280 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. Puka had 7 catches for 106 yards. Cooper Kupp had 5 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson had 2 touchdown catches. Kyron Williams had 23 carries for 100 yards, and he had a touchdown reception in this one. And this is the game where the game basically ended on a safety when Sam Darnold got tackled in the end zone, but he got tackled by his face mask, almost tore his face right off, and they didn't call the penalty. And when the Minnesota had to punt the ball back to the Rams were able to run out the clock and get the win there. So a little bit closer, but a pretty prolific game for all the top guys on the offense for the Rams there. And Darnold was pretty decent. He had 240 yards passing with a couple touchdowns. Jefferson had the best game with 8 catches, 115 yards. And Aaron Jones had 21 touches for over 115 yards. And but it was back and forth until that particular moment. And I think it should be a really, really tight, good game. Matthew Stafford, though, is only 1-4 in his career in the wild card round, so has not been able to step up. Only 1 win in 5 games so far in his career in this division and in this particular weekend.
Yeah, which is not great. Obviously, with Matthew Stafford, you'd think that record would be a lot better than what it is, but it isn't. So that doesn't bode well. But at the same time, as we've already discussed, he has his full complement of weapons. He's got his offense rolling. He's got a good chance of winning this game. A very good chance against a very, very excellent team against the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings, a lot of people point to Sam Darnold, why they had this resurrection and turnaround, but to me, it's their defense and their takeaways. They led the NFL in takeaways this year with 33. They had 24 interceptions. Both of those led the NFL, and to me were the biggest catalyst and biggest reason why this team had such a successful record, 14-3.
No, definitely. Totally agree with you on that. They were very adept at taking away the football and then scoring after that. So that's led to their success on the field.
Can't wait to see who emerges, and can't wait for next weekend. It's going to be fun. Always really, really phenomenal weekend. Some very, very, very good matchups, and it's going to be some great ball. Sometimes the wild card weekend, there's some mismatches. We saw that there was only 4 out of 5 games, or only 1 out of 5 games actually that was super tight and competitive throughout. So I'm sure next weekend all 4 will be great.
Me too. That's what I believe. I'm hoping that all 4 is going to be fantastic, awesome to watch, and close.
Okay, let's turn away from football and let's get to the UFC. UFC finally had a card. They were off for about a month, and they decided to give us a little appetizer of 311. We've got the Apex. It's the 101st Apex fight in Vegas. Man, that's a terrible number to hear, but fight night happened. On paper, this wasn't a stellar looking card, but it delivered some really, really good moments. And the main event ended up being a good fight. Mackenzie Dern ended up avenging her defeat to Amanda Hebus in the main event with a dog on a bone armbar victory. She was not going to let that arm go. Finally, after a long time trying to secure it, did get it, got the tap, got the win, and propelled her an opportunity at a championship fight very, very soon into her future. Nice to see Mackenzie avenge a loss that she had on her record for 5 years. And it was an impressive armbar victory for her.
Yes. First, I wanted to say this. For weaker cards like this, I'm going to be honest, I don't mind it being at the Apex. I'm okay with it. All right? If the UFC wants to do that going forward, weak cards like this, go for it. Put it at the Apex. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I did say with the Hebus Dern fight, if she goes to the ground, she's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah.
And
That was
guess what happened?
Yeah.
She went to the ground too many times. She played with fire too many times, and she got burned. It took a while for her to get that armbar because at first she was like, okay, am I going to go for it? I'm going to go for the top position. Okay, am I going to go for the armbar again? Yes, I'm going to go for the armbar again. Hebas actually had good skills on the ground to try to prevent her from getting the armbar by stacking her up. Yeah. But eventually, because Dern is, better at jiu-jitsu than you, she figured it out.
Yeah.
And then I thought she had it right away. And I'm like, oh, she better tap before her arm breaks. And I'm like, oh, she's kind of getting out of it. And then Dern's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not getting away from me. And eventually she got it, cemented it in, got the armbar victory. But I said it before, you can't play with fire with her. You can't literally go down to the ground. No. If you go down to the ground, stand back up immediately.
Yeah. That's your
best place to beat Dern, is on your feet.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. You were right. You made the call. And I thought that would be the game plan for Hebus, is to stay standing and keep away from the ground. And she failed to do so. It lasted a while, and Hebus, was doing well. But once Dern secured that, was able to get it. To me, it was just inevitable. It was going to happen. And she got the very, very late tap. There was, her arm was going to be destroyed.
Right.
Didn't tap. Too bad she had to. She couldn't wait 4 more seconds, but there'd be a long recovery for it. So so we'll see Mackenzie Dern having, I'm sure, a very, very tough opponent coming up. Top 5 for sure in the women's strawweight division. Should be great. I was a little hesitant to see this as a main event, but it turned out to be not bad. The co-main event was a hell of a fight. I loved it throughout. We saw Santiago Ponzanibbio in a lot of trouble because he had lost his last 4 of his last 5, and really in need seriously of a victory. Got himself in trouble again as usual, but ended up having a huge comeback knockout victory. Oh my God, this was spectacular. One of the best knockouts of the year, obviously already, but really good comeback against a super tough guy in Carlston Harris, who had Ponzanibbio on wobbly legs on many occasions, had knocked him down a few times. Ponzanibbio, really good comeback, got the win.
I believe Carlton Harris knocked Ponzanibbio down twice in the first round, once in the second. You could argue going into the third round, Ponzanibbio was definitely behind on the scorecards and possibly needed a finish in the third to win the fight.
Yeah.
So with him knowing all of that, and that man is a dog, if you don't put him away, he's just going to always be there. He's going to always be there. And I think it was, he hit him with one right cross and he goes, cool, I can hit him with the right cross now. Hit him with another right cross. Another right cross. I think he hit him with 4 right crosses before he finally crumpled to the ground, where Carlton was just like, I don't know what dimension I'm in. And then finally Ponzanibbio jumped on him, finished him with ground and pound. But it took a while. It took a while. Carlton Harris is super tough. And the fact that I think Ponzanibbio was trying to figure out the way this guy throws his punches is weird. It was weird because it looked like it was a punch/hammer strike every time when he threw his right, where I kept looking at it going, what is he doing?
What is that?
Like, what is that? But it has a ton of power behind it. A ton of power.
Yeah.
So
Ponzanibbio
found that out the hard way. It's like, oh, this guy can crack. He just punches weird.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit of an early stoppage in my mind. But like you say, Ponzanibbio was finding that right, kept hitting him on the chin and started really wobbling Harris around. And it looked like, the end was near. I think the ref jumped in a little soon for my liking, but it was a great comeback. Hell of a fun fight to watch. And I will sign up for those two again all day long. Ponzanibbio doesn't fight safe, and that sometimes it lends to him getting KO'd, but he was able to, suck it up after 3 knockdowns and in a lot of trouble throughout this fight. Getting a win here is very huge for him and really big for his career.
Yeah, huge for him. Very big for his career. And I always appreciate you saying to, it seemed like it was a little soon.
Little early.
Because I know how you prefer it. It's like when he stops moving, then you call the fight.
Yeah. I can say that the fight that we're going to talk about now was too early of a stoppage because Abdul Razak Alhassen definitely couldn't fight any longer. There was not going to be another second of fighting coming back from him. He was out for quite a while. This was a long time having to sleep in the octagon. He was out for quite a while. This fight was an awesome one too, and we talked about it last week. Alhassen, all 12 of his victories have been by KO. He has been knocked out a bunch of times, on his own too, and he had Cesar Almeida in all sorts of trouble, and he was going for it, and he got caught. And Almeida just landed that perfect shot that he had landed in his kickboxing career before, and now in the UFC and MMA, and absolutely stiffened up Alhassen. It was one of those awesome walk-off KOs that you want to see, you want to watch live, and we did. It was incredible, and yeah, that one I'll give you. It wasn't an early stoppage.
No. This definitely was not an early stoppage. Alhassen was going for it because I believe he knocked him down with the right, and he thought he had it. And he probably would have had it.
Yeah.
But the thing with Almeida is he's always calm under fire. Even when he was going through the fury of those punches, he was just waiting to pick his shot. Yeah. And once he threw that left, I don't even know if Alhassen saw it, to be honest with you. I think he was just more concerned with his own offense, didn't see the counter, and when that counter landed, over.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. And I knew for a fact you would be happy with that and say, that you can stop, ref.
That's definitive. Yeah, referee, you're fine. Stopping that. Yeah, go for it. It reminded me of Czech Congo Pat Barry.
Yeah, yes.
And it was very similar to that. Czech Congo was in a lot more trouble than Almeida was in, and had flopped around a lot more. And 99% of referees would have stopped that Czech Congo Pat Barry fight earlier, but gave him that chance. Pat Barry was coming in, landing, and then got caught, and boom, he was out, and Congo got the victory. But it was similar looking to that knockout and the way it came about.
Yeah, definitely similar looking. It was I'm going to be honest, a little concerning though for how long he was out. Jeez. He was out for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
I was just happy that when he finally got to the stool and was trying to come to his senses, so that was a good thing. Yeah. But excellent victory by Almeida. Pulled that one out of the fire, man. Because I'm telling you right now, I think Alhassen, and I think he knew it, was literally 1 or 2 more punches away from finishing that fight.
Yeah,
he just didn't get there.
Yeah, he was so close. It was he could taste the victory, and he just just zigged when he should have zagged, or just tried to throw up some defenses a little bit, and got caught. It was an awesome KO that's going to be forever living in the annals of UFC history. Knockout of the year, 100% so far, 2025. So, but it'll be one of the knockouts of the year, I think, all year long. The fight of the night ended up being the fight that happened right before that, the middleweight battle between Chris Curtis and Roman Kopilov. This was a great battle. I love seeing both of them throw over 100 significant strikes each, and Kopilov ended up getting the victory. Early stoppage too. Can you say early stoppage? 1 second left in the fight. It didn't need to be stopped. Kopilov had already walked away. There was no imminent danger. Curtis, he was standing up, ready to go. 1 more second, and it went to decision at least. This was an early stoppage, I gotta say.
Yes. This is where I will agree with you. It was an early stoppage. I think it was the referee was Mark Smith.
Yeah.
I think he lost track of where the timing was. And if he had known the timing, he would not have stopped that fight.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
that was a hell of a head kick that
was
sent him reeling. That was a hell of a head kick.
Hell of a head kick. And because of that head kick and the way it ended for that third round, I think Kopilov would have won the fight anyways, regardless.
Yeah.
I
think it was 1-1 going into that. And I think that probably propelled him forward to win the round, and he would have got his hand raised. But Curtis was mad, and I think rightfully so. I think he deserved it to go to the judges.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would have been, but I think because of the way that Kopilov finished that third round, meant that he won that third round, because I thought that he was getting the better of Curtis anyways in said third round. And also too, Curtis, unfortunately, I think he depends on his boxing too much.
Right.
He doesn't have more of a variety of strikes where Kopilov does. Yeah. And that's where I thought he was getting the advantage in the fight, because he has more diversity of strikes as opposed to Curtis, who just really mainly depends upon his boxing.
Curtis ended up outstriking him. The significant strikes were 142 to 130 in favor of Curtis. Curtis actually had landed about 55% of his strikes, and Kopilov only 42%. There was one takedown by Kopilov that he secured that might have given him that one round, and also the knockdown. In boxing, it's like an immediate 10-8 and a knockdown like that. In the UFC and MMA, it's not the same. But that was the most significant moment of that third and final round. And I think almost everybody would have had it 1-1 going into that third round. So, it was kind of a walk-off moment. But, I think in hindsight, Smith will be like, shit, I could have let it go one more second.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I think he didn't know where the timer was.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was aware that Kopilov had actually walked away from him.
Right.
Maybe. Right. He was lost in the moment. Right. I get it. I understand it. But if he had known exactly all of those things I just mentioned, he doesn't do that. It goes to the judge's scorecard. But even if it does, I think, unfortunately, Curtis still loses.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the featherweight fight between C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez, and Austin Bashy. Bashy making his UFC debut, coming in undefeated, coming in off the Dana White Contender Series. He was favored going into this one, and C-Rod ended up really being the better fighter in this fight, proving that there's levels to this game, and really, I think deserved the decision win in this one. But it was a hell of a good fight.
Very good fight. Like you said, levels to this game. And Rodriguez was the veteran, the more experienced person, as Bashy was new coming in. And Bashy was basically grappling-centric, trying to do his attacks. But Rodriguez was able to stifle a lot of those attacks and attack him on his feet with good knees, elbows in tight. Rodriguez was just the better fighter in this fight. He was just better at what Bashy was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, let's talk briefly about the fight that kicked off the main card. We only saw 31 seconds of it. Puna Soriano was able to blitz Uros Medic and get a KO victory super quick. Incredible performance by him, and nice to see a very immediate definitive win for him in convention fashion.
Yeah, man, it was. I honestly believe when there's certain things that happen in your life, it gives you power. And for Soriano, I think he said that his fiance or wife was expecting their firstborn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that gave him all the motivation and power that he needed, where it's like, oh, I'm getting paid today. I am getting paid today.
Yeah.
Because It felt like that was like either his first punch or his third punch in the fight. Like he didn't do much up
No.
until that point.
Yeah.
And once he landed that, it was a perfect punch, and it was just like, oh, sweet, it's over. Right on. I get
Just
the part.
blitzed them. Yeah. Just blitzed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah, you're right. It gave him some dad strength and
Yeah.
yeah, that Hawaiian warrior spirit. And holy shit, really good way to kick off the main card with a quick knockout like that. It was fun.
No, it's great.
Okay, let's talk about the feature fight on the prelims, a flyweight fight. Jose Johnson against Felipe Bunes, a submission victory for Bunes, and got the win over a tough guy in Jose.
Yeah, tough guy against Jose. Bunes basically he took his time, got the takedown, and then locked up the armbar for the win. And it was, I'm gonna be honest, he made that look pretty easy. Pretty like, oh well, just gonna do this. It's like this is the plan. Get the takedown, get a submission win, and he did that pretty clinically.
Yeah.
Very clean.
Man, did he ever, holy cow. It was yeah, it was textbook and quick and easy.
Made it look easy.
Yeah. Speaking of easy, I thought Marco Tulio had an pretty easy victory over Ihor Ptoria. Tulio is one physical specimen, super tough. When he lands, you know it, and he got a huge win here. This is a prospect. This is a guy coming out of Brazil as a new prospect. And yeah, look out. This division is in a lot of trouble with this guy. I think he was, yeah, able to just win this human chess match and finally land the powerful shots that he needed.
Oh yeah, man. Tulio was definitely the more powerful striker of the two. You could definitely tell that as the fight was wearing on. And it just seemed to me like it was only a matter of time before he landed what he needed to land to get Pretoria out of there, which is exactly what happened. Got him, landed that, I think it was like a sneaky right, and then followed up with him ground and pound. Great win by Tulio. Great win.
Yeah, I felt a little bit bad because it had come just after a low blow. The fight had been stopped on a couple of occasions already, and Pretoria was a little bit compromised, but I think Tulio was maybe a little bit worried and concerned that if another illegal strike happened, that he might get penalized and points, and it seemed to fire him up. I think right away he just sort of went into attack mode.
Yeah, he went into attack mode because I believe he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna finish this real quick.
He was able to also get 20% of Pretoria's purse because he missed weight and was able to key in with a big win here. He also made mention of his girlfriend, who's one of the top UFC fighters, but I don't know why I can't find it in my notes. But did you catch who his girlfriend is? She's a future title contender in the UFC.
You know what weight division?
I think it's flyweight.
Flyweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
I didn't catch it.
Doesn't matter. Okay, talk about the Thiago Moises Trey Ogden fight. Moises ended up getting the decision victory. Ogden, this guy, I'm very impressed with Ogden. I think he has a really great defensive style. He reminds me of Sean Strickland the way he fights, and he doesn't look as physically imposing as guys like Moises, but I thought he put on a really good performance. I thought Moises ended up just getting the nod, just slightly winning each round, but this was a really, really good back and forth battle that ended up going to the decision win by Thiago.
Yeah. And the way that Moises won this fight was through his superior grappling, but more so his top control. Yeah. The fact that Ogden literally, once he was pinned under him, couldn't get out from underneath him.
Couldn't get out.
And that was unfortunate. I liked Ogden. I liked what he brought to the table. Unfortunately, we probably won't be seeing him for quite some time
Right.
because he did suffer a bicep tear in that
Oh
fight,
yeah,
and
that
it was
looked
pretty
ugly, didn't
noticeable.
it? Yeah.
It looked pretty bad.
Yeah, holy shit. His it had
Like it was up
just
here.
sucked back up into his top of his arm there,
Arm.
hey?
Yeah,
Oh man, that was brutal. Yeah,
yeah, pretty
I
brutal.
felt I felt terrible for the guy. And yeah, when you see that it's snapped and it's now
Oh,
here instead of sitting all the way down
yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, needs he needs some surgery, and
Yep.
it's going to be a long recovery from that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
Okay, let me see here. Why can't I find Marco Tulio? Oh, anyway. Okay, newcomer Jacoby Smith ended up getting early knockout against Preston Parsons. Jacoby Smith is a super physically imposing guy, still undefeated. Really, really nice win over Preston Parsons. What do you think about that one?
Well, I thought first off that Smith had some real explosive power to the point where I'm just like, he catches this guy with anything. It's going to be over real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, would you look at that? It's over.
Boom, it happened. Yeah, yeah.
And like you could tell, like the amount of power that man had every time he was coming in, it was like it was with fight-ending stuff
Yeah.
every single time. And so I knew that if he caught him with something, it's going to be over. And I think it was a right left, and down she went. Game over.
Game over.
All said and done.
Yeah. Do you have? We kind of should move on, but do you want to mention any of the other fights on the card? Anything else you?
Just maybe for the first fight for the prelims with okay, Gads Gadzilov. Anyways, versus Lopez.
Right.
Lopez won. I thought she was very impressive in her win. I love the diversity of her strikes. No, that was the guys, right?
That's the guys. Bruno.
Yeah,
Lopez,
no.
Mega.
The diversity of his strikes, sorry. And I thought Lopez looked very good in that win.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. Okay, let's just briefly preview this weekend's card. We got UFC 311. It is scheduled for the Intuit Dome Arena, the new arena for the LA Clippers. If the wildfires spark up again,
It's not going to be there.
they might have to move it to Vegas. That's what Dana White said this weekend. The T-Mobile Arena will be the place that they'll move it to if it doesn't happen. I understand that more significant winds are heading LA's way, and this might exacerbate the problem and make the fire a lot more troublesome. There are games going on right now. I think tonight's game is in LA, the Spurs Lakers game, and I think the Clippers are playing as well tonight. So there are games going on in LA, but we'll see what happens through the week. If it happens there or in Vegas, shouldn't change much. If it does get changed.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't change much. Hopefully the windstorms, if they come back, it's not as devastating as what they once were. Because if they are though, oh man, I just feel for those people. They've already been through enough.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't. But this is a incredibly stacked card. Really awesome way to kick off 2025's pay-per-view cards. The main event is the lightweight championship fight between the champ Islam Makhachev against Arman Tsarukyan. This is a rematch that is years in the making. Islam has only lost one fight in his entire career, and that was back in 2015. His second fight in the UFC, Adriano Martins. Tsarukyan also has been on an incredible tear since that fight they had back in 20th of April 2019. They had the fight in Russia. It was fight of the night. Tsarukyan lost the decision to Makhachev. but Sarukian has won, I think, what is it, 9 in a row since, and both of them have got incredibly better. I think this could be one of the fights of all time. And if Makhachev can win, he might be considered the greatest lightweight of all time. And this is a incredible battle that I think both of them really need at this time. I think they're meeting each other at the perfect time, and it could go down as one of those fights we'll remember forever and ever.
I think both of them are at their peaks.
Yep.
Like literally, I think we're witnessing two fighters that are at their absolute peaks, and it's going to be awesome to see. I don't know if I will not say definitively that Islam's definitely going to win this fight.
No,
I would not say that. I think this is as close. Like this is going to be one of his. I think this guy's going to be his toughest competitor that he's ever fought against. Period.
yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how this fight plays out.
I think I heard that no fighter has defended the lightweight belt 4 times. I think I
Really?
heard that, which is weird.
Which is weird. It is
But
weird.
he has defended it 3 times so far, and 2 of them were against Volkanovski, who is a division lower than him.
Lower than him.
Yeah, so it's still, I wouldn't maybe put him at the top of the heap quite yet, but this will really go far because definitely, in my opinion, this is his toughest test by far yet. And I think Sarukian has a real shot at winning this fight, and Islam has going to be having to have his best performance of his life.
Yep, definitely. They're both going to have their best performances, top tier, both of them.
Let's see. Sarukian is actually 9-1 since that loss to Makhachev. He's beat Oliveira, Dariush, Ismagulov, Yagos, Mafrovola, Olivier Oban Mercier. He's only lost to Mateus Gamrot by decision back in 2022. Had many performance of the nights and fight of the nights. And won that title eliminator at UFC 300 over Charles Oliveira. Awesome. Can't wait for it. Should be a hell of a good fight. Really, really fun. The co-main event should be amazing as well. I think this could be Merab Dvalishvili's toughest test to date. And Umar Nurmagomedov comes in as the underdog, but undefeated and trying to take the belt away from the champion. The incredible matchup. Should be a hell of a fight too.
Yep, I think this is going to be an incredible matchup. Merab, usually his go-to is, I'm just going to cardio you. I'm going to outwork you, and I'm just going to keep taking you down. I'm just going to wear you out.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I don't think that approach is going to work with Umar. I think he's going to be in fantastic shape, and this is going to be a dogfight. Again, like these are 2 great title fights that we have right at the beginning. And I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to see how Umar deals with the constant pressure that Merab's going to put on him with the takedowns.
Yeah.
That I'm very much interested in seeing how he deals with that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. The light heavyweight battle between Yuri Prochazka and Jamal Hill, 2 former champions of the light heavyweight division, both held the belt and have lost the belt, trying to make a comeback now, both of them. Wow. Incredible matchup too.
Incredible matchup. I don't believe this will go all 3 rounds. I think one of these 2 men are going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
It's going to finish.
The lightweight fight between Dariush and Moicano should be fun. Both the fighters in the main event have faced Dariush, and Dariush is coming in on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Sarukian that last fight, which was the title eliminator, fighting Money Moicano, who's coming in on a 4-fight win streak, and he's won 6 out of his last 7. Guess I'm giving a bit of a nod to Moicano in this one from recent fights, but Dariush, one of the toughest guys in the division, and this should be a very, very tight battle as well.
This should be a great fight. I'm kind of also leaning to Moicano, not because of the win streak, not because he's been 6-7. I just want to hear him on the mic after the
Yeah,
fight's
I
done.
love
I want to hear
Moicano.
whatever crazy stuff comes out of his mouth again.
Yeah.
Always enjoyable.
Yeah. You're a fan of the mouth on Kevin Holland too.
Yes, I am.
Let's hope he gets the victory and takes the mic as well. Entertain the hell out of us. Fighting the newcomer Rene de Ritter, who won his last performance, but not in super convention fashion. We'll see, yeah, what he brings to the table against Holland. He's more of a grappler. We'll
Yeah.
see. Holland's going to want to keep the fight standing, but good way to kick off the main card.
Yeah, great way to take off the ring card and what you just said. I think Holland will prefer to have this fight standing, and obviously de Ritter is going to do everything in his power to get it to the mat.
And let's see yeah, what stands out in the prelims to you? Unfortunately, Johnny Walker was injured this week and has fallen off the card. So they've replaced him with Billy Elencana. Immediately Bogdan Guskov becomes the favorite in this one. I don't know why they're making it the featured prelim, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, because what I would have made the feature prelim right away would have been Jelton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak.
Yeah.
That would have been my feature prelim because
Yeah.
those two definitely deserve it. And that's the one that I'm paying the most attention to in the prelim is that fight.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I do also look forward to that bantamweight battle between Raoni Barcelos and Peyton Talbot. Talbot's one of those young up-and-comers, undefeated, has had some pretty amazing performances, and I like what Raoni's brought too. That should be a great battle in the bantamweight division.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. That should be a very good fight.
But yeah, what are they thinking? Why not make Almeida Spivak the featured prelim? That's super strange and weird. I don't get that.
Yeah, because like they're both veterans. They both put on great fights, and if anything, they both deserve to be the feature of the prelim, right?
Yeah.
Well, but sometimes you don't understand the politics of the UFC. Sometimes there's some weird politics that go on behind the scenes that we don't know about. So maybe there's something there going on.
True. We don't usually get to see much of the early prelims, but if you're at home, you're listening, you're watching this, please do yourself a favor and watch the early prelims. There should be some great fights on it as well. I love the Ulanbekov Clayton Carpenter. I'm a fan of Ricky Tercios as well, and we should see a great battle between Grant Dawson and Diego Ferreira.
Great fight.
It is a hell of a great card stacked throughout. We know where we're going to be Saturday night watching UFC 311. Great card. So many matchups that I am super intrigued. Perfect, very, very well suited. They say styles makes fights, and we should see some of the best fights ever.
Yep. Good start to pay-per-views for the beginning of 2025. Well done, UFC.
100%. Yeah, you're right. Okay, man. Well, I think that covers the world of sports for this weekend and the week ahead. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in how the NFL turned out this week, but I think I'm going to be 1 week from tonight going to be absolutely thrilled talking to you about how great those next 4 games will be, and we'll be able to start talking about champions coming up soon. Yeah. That Bills Ravens matchup, a dream matchup for everyone that follows the NFL.
Oh, definitely, man. Like that matchup is going to be awesome to watch. And I just hope that both teams bring their utmost best and perform their best so that we benefit the most out of that.
They had the press conference today for that massive boxing fight that you sent.
Oh, the February 22nd.
Details. Yeah, I don't have that in front of me, but we'll talk about it next week. They had the press conference today to do it, and they had you wouldn't believe the amount of amazing boxers that they had in Saudi Arabia there promoting it. They had this one picture, and it was, the who's who in the boxing world over the past 10, 15 years, and it was it was just awesome to see. And I didn't get a chance to see the press conference, but I'm going to watch it tonight or tomorrow. When you sent me the details on that card, I was like, holy cow, this is another reason why we love the Saudis and what they're bringing to the world of boxing.
Like, honestly, when I first saw that, I'm like, I haven't watched a full boxing card like that for quite some time.
Yeah.
But when I saw the lineup, I'm like, well, then that's my day. That's literally, I'm going to watch boxing for 7 hours that day.
Yeah. It was so absolutely phenomenal. Like I don't have the
Every fight's a
details.
title fight.
Yeah,
Every fight's a title fight.
Every single solitary fight on the card was a title
is a
fight.
title fight.
Yeah. Unreal, eh? Yeah. That was it's Bivol better Biev and
2. Yep.
and
The
then
rematch.
the rematch and on and on and on. We got to talk about it next week. I'm going to make a note of it, and we'll be able to break it down. And it's coming in February. We get the Super Bowl in February. We get that card, and I'm sure some awesome pay-per-views. I heard that Dominic Cruz is fighting now in February, and it will be his retirement fight.
So he's finally saying that he's going to hang him up.
That's going to be it for him.
He's kind of hung him up for a while, since that's what he does now, is commentating.
UFC 312, February 8th, I believe, is
pay-per-view.
It's the UFC 312 pay-per-view. Yeah. So
he doesn't have an opponent yet, does he?
I think they did make the announcement, but I don't think I got it right in front of me.
All good. Hey, you know what? I hope he goes out with a bang. I hope he finishes his amazing, probably I would say Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
I would say his Hall of Fame career. I hope he ends it just the same as our guy Cub Swanson. Hopefully finishes just like that, as a winner.
That's actually the following week after the pay-per-view. It's Saturday, February 22nd, and it's Rob Font. And it'll be on the same card. It'll be the co-main event to the bantamweight fight between Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong. So Cruz wanted Cejudo. For some reason, they said Cejudo turned it down. So they've put Song Yadong in there. And Cruz and Font are the co-main event. If anybody falls off, maybe if Song gets hurt, I'm sure Cruz will be elevated to the main event. But that's what I've heard is going to be Dominic Cruz's swan song. And if Henry doesn't win, it might be the last fight we ever see of him too.
That's very true. I'm kind of surprised that Henry said no to Dominic Cruz. I'm actually very surprised.
Very surprised too. Yeah, very surprised. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, man, thanks so much. Hope you have a great night. I hope you start feeling super better. I hope tomorrow you feel 100% healthy, and enjoy the football game tonight. Enjoy some of the basketball action, and we'll talk very soon. Take care.
Yep, we'll talk very soon. You have yourself a great evening. Take care.
Cheers. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, everybody. Thanks again for sticking throughout, and watching. It was a fun podcast to do, as always. We loved it. And welcome to 2025. We were able to get this podcast done after a really fun weekend. And I want to thank your support. I want to thank our partners and sponsors' support. As always, you know who you are. And take care of yourself. Have a great week ahead. We'll hear from you soon. Love you. Bye for now.